Yes, little icon says we are live. And if you are watching us live, that means it's Wednesday and it's high noon on the Wednesday Eastern time, of course, which is time for the High Noon Hemp Show. You can find us in many, many places, of course. Let me get the little scroll up so you can see right there by the magic of technology where you can find us on Facebook, the Temptations Beach Facebook page, YouTube. You got the Jedi Hemp YouTube channel. All the episodes are right there. You can go watch all of them if you want in a row. I don't know if that's possible, but you can. Over 300 hours of hemp infotainment. I guarantee you, by the end, if you watch all of them, you will know more about hemp than 99.9% of the people on this planet. So go do that. After this one, of course, and then go back and find the other ones. However you want to do the order, but this one's live, so this one's probably the most important. In any case, also check out @Temptations on Twitter. I'm Stoner Jesus. I do various things on the interwebs that you can search out if you feel like it. He is Beach. He loves hemp, as you can see, and he's right there at the new Temptations location. Let me change the scroll on the bottom again. Bam! Now it's the address, Spring Grove Avenue in Cincinnati. Go check it out. Beach, how are things this week in the world of Temptations?
Well, we're getting the last push of everything out of the old location over here. So it's been crazy. Somehow we're going to jam it all in. It's true. And we're in the flower factory here at 3844 Spring Grove Avenue. Hey, Stoner, do you know what day it is?
Oh, Lord, not this again. I don't know what day it is, Beach, but I'm sure you're going to tell me.
Hemp Day!
Yes.
That's right. Every Wednesday at noon, it's High Noon Hemp Show Day, or what we call Hemp Day. Anyway, remember, everybody, the FDA has not evaluated this show for safety or efficacy. All right, we got that out of the way. Let's go ahead and put our hands on our hearts, our hemp. I pledge allegiance to the hemp fields of America and to the soil in which it is planted. One seed under the sun with responsibility, sustainability, and thrivability for all. All right, well, we got big news to start the show. You know, I like to, if it's local or Ohio, we started at the beginning, and we talk about it at the beginning. So Ohio, thankfully, is actually going to go to the federal standards. They're going to give up their hemp program. We've seen a lot of states do this because, all in all, if you go back to, especially in Ohio, if we go back to the federal standards, it will make it so much easier to farm hemp in Ohio. You know, we implicated our hemp program, I believe it was 2018. And again, right out of the gate, just made it stupid. Stupid fees, just all of everything that made it stupid, everything that made no one want to really grow hemp in the state of Ohio. Now, you know, now that they've abandoned the state program, once again, we go back to the federal program, which is very simple. See, there's, you know, you don't have to pay. You don't have to pay to play, so to speak. Now, Ohio still could. I don't think they'll do anything when it comes to it. You will still have to have those plants tested, and so they will still have to come up underneath that 0.3%. But basically, it pretty much keeps everybody out of the whole thing, which is great. Honestly, it should be as easy as growing soy or cotton, no matter where you're growing it. This is one step closer in Ohio to making it as easy to grow as soy or cotton, which is great. Now they still have, if you want to manufacture or process in Ohio, you still have to pay that fee, which I think, once again, is ridiculous. There should be no fee to operate a business to process or manufacture hemp products in Ohio. That, again, it's Now we can farm under less regulations, and it'd be cheaper for the farmer, as it should be. It should be as cheap as possible for the farmer. Um, and so, we still have the issue with processing. So what we're going to still see is, I think, more farmers maybe taking their stuff out of state to have it processed, as opposed to, if you're paying someone, then having that processing license, I guess, is worth it. If you want to do it yourself, as in um, the emissary workshop wants to do with the flower that they grow here, the CBN, CBG, industrial hemp flower, then you have to have a basically a approved food area. So somewhere that is approved to process food. It has to be that clean in the state of Ohio, and then you can pay that processing and process and package your own. But you have to have that food grade quality environment to actually get the license to process your own if you're farming in Ohio, which is going to be in the works for these guys, so they can, in fact, they pretty much control the whole supply chain then, from seed to shelf, which is, if you're a large scale hemp farm, probably the only real viable way to make it worth your while. So anyway, but it's a good move in Ohio. Everything that Ohio does when it comes to hemp up until now has been backwards and overreaching and ridiculous. Just like their view on all cannabis. They still are trying to be overreaching on cannabis and all these things. But when it comes to the hemp, they weren't encouraging or helping any farmers move over into the hemp sector. They were actually discouraging and making farmers not want to be in the hemp farming sector. Northern Ohio is pretty ripe for growing successful fiber. The more northern latitudes tend to have better plants for fiber. It's obviously good for the seeds because the Canadians grow an unbelievable amount of grain. I don't think it really matters where you grow anywhere as far as the seed goes. If you've got male plants in there to get that seed going, then you're gonna get all the grain you want or need, which I think is pretty good. I did just recently see that up until 1937, it was about 1920, I read an article about hemp fiber when it was prevalent, and they were getting 2.5 tons of just fiber out of an acre. I mean, that's an unbelievable amount of fiber for 1 acre of the strongest natural fiber on the planet. No pesticides, herbicides needed. Hopefully we'll start moving more forward in Ohio now. Now that farming is a lot less restricted for the farmer, I think that will help definitely move things ahead as far as growing more hemp and growing for fiber and grain as opposed to CBD. All those fees and all that stuff is worth it, or used to be. Now the CBD market's kind of dropped down, and so it's not the medium tier cannabis market used to be. It's the low tier as far as pricing goes because there's so much of it out there. But it still can be worth it for a farmer to grow for the flower. I hope this encourages more farmers in Ohio to grow for the grain and or the fiber. So we'll see, but it's a good move. It's definitely a good move. We won't really know how that impacts hemp farming until next year, one way or another. All right, well, let's jump right into the product spotlight. 4 from the store, 1 from my door here on the High Noon Hemp Show. The first one is, I love my hemp composites. So here is these are sauna packaging. Basically, it's what we call the doob tube. You could put your pre-roll in there. You could put your blunt in there. You could probably put 2 or 3, maybe even 4 regular size joints in there. And again, no drug paraphernalia in Ohio because it's legal. So I can tell you to put whatever you want in there. Either way. So if you're, and they're eco-friendly. And once again, when you're done with it, if you're ever done with it, and you can put whatever you want in there. It doesn't have to be even cannabis related. If it's something you want to store in there, not liquids. I don't think they're that, but they would make fun little shots. Like people, the shots that people did, you could definitely make cool, fun shots in those and then give them to your friends. I'm not saying, and I'm not promoting drinking either, but I'm just, that would be neat. But anyway, they are biodegradable. So when you're done with it, if you want to chuck it out in the yard, that's fine. If it goes to the landfill, that's okay too, because it will break down in a very short amount of time compared to other plastic that's in the landfills. I really wish these would have existed back when I did my basically biodegradable project for my kids' kindergarten class, where we put a bunch of different things in different jars and showed, how quickly or how slowly, or if at all, they break down. But it'd be fun to watch that. The next one, maybe you need some napkins. Who doesn't need napkins? Maybe you want to buy the last napkins you'll ever buy for your life, because I'm pretty sure that these will last you a lifetime, as hemp does. But these are some Hempies, some Hempies napkins, and I even found some more of these. We have so much stuff to bring over hemp related to get in here to get back to the largest selection of hemp in one place at Hemptations. Even with the little bit that's over here, it's probably more than most places. Wink. So some Hempies napkins. If you need some napkins. How about it's a good time of year for these. Everybody's on vacation to the beach. Got the kids. These are what we call high flyers. But basically, it's like a soft Frisbee. So that's why these are kind of good for the kids. They're very easy to catch. So once it hits your hand, it kind of like, all you got to do is close your hand. Doesn't hurt. I think they're definitely safer, because if you're out there and you accidentally hit someone with these, they're filled with hemp seed. And again, they kind of just, kind of crunch up. And so I think you would definitely do a lot less damage than you would a petrochemically based plastic Frisbee either way. They're not great in the wind, and they don't really fly too far. But, if you're having fun tossing things around, if you get too far away, you can't even have a conversation. So, anyway. And the last one I'm going to put up here, and, I want everyone to guess in their head what they think this is actually for. This is the riot gear. I showed some of this earlier or last week, but these are very interesting. These are what they call a goo wallet. All right, so they're actually lined with silicone, so you can mess with your dabs and what. And then there's even a silicone lined pouch in there for your wax or dabs or however that works. I am old, and so I am not from the generation that would utilize something like this or even really know how it works. But, it folds open, and once again, you got basically a silicone mat, and you can put whatever you want in a little pocket in there that is also silicone lined. Now, they say that they're smell proof. They have a they do have like a ceiling zipper, not just a regular zipper, but kind of this interesting kind of ceiling zipper that not that smell matters. Once again, in Ohio, it's not illegal, so you can smell it like you want. But maybe in your state, you might have to worry about that, no matter where you are. And I get these listed on eBay at some point or another. My goal is to get every single hemp object, everything that's in the store will hopefully eventually be on eBay for sale as well. All right, and the last one from my door is just maybe a handful of my grocery bags, and so I'm going to estimate that that I probably have about 15, 20 hemp grocery bags. I made the one on the one to the far left a long time ago, just some iron-on stuff. The one in the middle is from Vote Hemp, the HIA, when they had the Vote Hemp program going in. The one on the purple one, that was made at Planet Everywhere. It dyed here and then printed with those leaves. And so, I definitely agree with the reusable grocery bags, especially when they're made out of hemp. All right, there you have it. 4 from the store, 1 from my door, here on the High Noon Hemp Show. And now,
of course, brings us to what, as you all have come to know, is the greatest single segment in internet history. I've yet to be proven wrong on that. People have not tried, but if they did try, they would not succeed in any case. This has also become a place where we like to talk about the complete lack of interest from the Guinness World Records when it comes to the hemp records that Beach has set and currently holds. So I like to go to their X and check out what they have going on, what they think is important. Most of the time it's stupid. Sometimes it's heartwarming. Sometimes there seems to be some sort of rhyme or reason to it. But today there really doesn't seem to be that. Not only that, but the most ironic part is I know this product specifically is a product that there is a hemp version of, because Beach has shown a hemp version of this product several times on the show. Golfer makes world record dream come true by sticking over 700 teas in her hair. 700
Woo!
in her hair.
I mean, that's kind of unfair because you got to have the right hair for that.
That's right. I have a lot of hair.
That's a lot of hair, and I feel like the person with the longest amount of hair is going to break this record soon.
They should.
And you know what? You are 100% correct. Those could be hemp composite teas.
I'm wondering how many hemp teas we can get in your hair.
Not a whole lot, because I got stringy. We'd have to tie them on. My hair doesn't hold anything. They would just want to fall out. But I would be willing to try.
Well, at least for now, the record is safe when it comes to hemp teas. But maybe someone else is going to, I don't know who else would go through this trouble, but maybe someone will.
Yeah, I like the idea. I mean, I could easily break the hemp tea record by gathering my hemp teas and putting them in my hair and then just starting there.
That's right.
Or I should say, I can make, because I set hemp records. I don't break hemp records. I set them.
Right. Maybe the Guinness World Records would care about that, because they don't care at all about what we're going to talk about here in 1 second, which is the Beachwear segment and Beach's extensive record-setting, record-holding collection of hemp clothing alone. We're not even talking about all the other products that are made of hemp that Beach has. Just the clothing we talk about in the Beachwear segment when I ask Beach a very simple question, which is, what are you wearing, Beach?
That's right. If you're curious, what are you wearing, Beach? Now you'll know on this fine High Noon Hemp Show Wednesday. So my hat is E-Conscious. E-Conscious. I love their name. Hemp hat, trucker style, which is still super popular. My t-shirt is a Young Maven Hemptations University, printed here at Planet Everywhere. T. My shorts are Efforts. Okay, but this is kind of one of my more rare pair of hemp shorts made by Efforts. You can see in my pocket there those Efforts shorts, my Green Spring Technology pen, as usual. It's making a return after being absent for a couple weeks. My briefs are Hempist briefs. My socks beside those are Hemp Traders No Shows. And then my shoes are Rackles. Good old Rackles. So, if you are wondering, or you were wondering on this fine Wednesday, what are you wearing, Beach? Now you know. Mostly gray. It's a gray Wednesday.
It's a great day.
It's a gray day. It's not really a gray day. It's hot and sunny out there last time I checked.
Yeah.
But it would be nice if it would be a gray day. Breaking the weather's coming soon, folks, if that matters to you here in the high state area.
Open.
All right. Well, we're still celebrating Hempmas in July. I figure we're almost as close to it as we were last week, so I figured I'd just go ahead and send over our other Hempmas commercial. So let's go ahead and check that out, and then we'll be back with the news.
It's that time of year.
Oh, it's the same one.
Day and night.
Bummer.
Temptations for the holidays will make your price burn bright. Make a shopping dash. Come raid Temptation Stash. You're sure to find great hemp gifts while saving lots of cash. So have some cheer, get in here, everybody get along. The holidays happen once a year, it's 420 all year long.
Are you having temptations?
For 20 years.
Having temptations for 20 years.
That's fine. You saw it last week. Don't worry about it. You saw it again.
But actually, if you were here last week, you will notice that this commercial is actually different than last week's version because we made two.
Wow.
This week's version included the bong.
I heard that.
You heard that, right? Yeah. See, that wasn't in the original, which was the one that aired on TV.
So it was different.
But we have this version, which is adds that bong in there. And so those were actually two different commercials, just slightly different commercials. So anyway, fun stuff. All right. Talk about fun stuff. I love Kentucky Hemp Works. I have carried their products for as long as they have existed. I need to get some more of their stuff in, including this jalapeno citrus vinaigrette. I'm looking very forward to trying this. I am a big fan of. Now, jalapenos don't treat me as well as they used to, so it might be an experiment to make sure my gut can take it. But other than that, I am very excited to try this. And again, go to Kentucky Hemp Works website, check out all their great products. They have been making Kentucky proud hemp products since they were growing in the first years of hemp. So all kinds of great products there, one way or another. So we really love the Kentucky Hemp Works. And again, I need to get some more of their stuff on the shelves. We'll get stocked up here soon on it. Well, we got good news. They must have been, somebody was listening to me last week when I was talking about the spending bill that included a THC ban that was not going to go into effect for a year anyway, because, that's how dangerous THC is. They're going to ban it and then tell us that the ban doesn't go into effect for a year. And that was in a spending bill, in an agricultural spending bill, no less, that they were trying to ban THC. It's been blocked. It's getting taken out. Thankfully, Rand Paul, GOP, Republican, it's ridiculous for this to be addressed in this manner to begin with. It's another one of those government overreach. It just proves to you and I that if we're not paying attention, they can put anything in anything and pass it as far as laws go. There was zero reason for this to be included in the spending bill to begin with. Period. And so, thankfully, cooler heads have prevailed, and the THC ban that's in the spending bill is not going to be a part of the spending. Yay! Well, it didn't take Texas too long. Okay, so they immediately passed a ban, SB5, I think it was, on THC again. But it kind of stalled, and they're going to go to a break on this one. But I guess the Congress, because it's Senate Congress, I don't know how this even works in Texas, but there's yet now, they've already now added another ban that's exactly like the other ban. And, it hasn't even been voted on yet. But the governor of Texas is never going to sign, he's already not signed a ban on industrial hemp THC in Texas. I don't understand why their House and Senate seems to think that they need to move forward with that. It didn't work. It's not going to work again. If you're going to go back to the drawing table, go back with more logical legislation. Age requirements, packaging requirements, those type of things. Really, that's the only thing that needs to be done. That's it. If you want to have control or regulate THC from hemp in your state, the best way to do it is to pass those laws. And then just let the adults decide where they want to buy what. Period. I did see that Florida is now bragging about 150,000 packages of industrial hemp that has been seized because it looks like it could appeal to kids. And again, I don't understand how these companies can't be compensated because they were carrying these products before the ban went into place. All right. And B, like I've said so many times, who gets to decide? And why aren't you, if you're in Florida and you sell any intoxicating hemp products, go get a bunch of brown bags and just put them all in there. Put them behind the shelf in a brown bag. Maybe take a Sharpie and write on the outside of the bag what it is. And then show it to the customers as they ask for it. Again, anybody, and again, I don't know who gets to decide. Who is the expert that decides whether packaging is meant to appeal to kids or not? And again, not being sold to kids. I want to be clear. These products are not being sold to kids. They're just in packaging that looks like a kid could be attracted to it. It's the most ridiculous seizure thing. I don't even understand how, the first week or so they were bragging. I think I talked about 25,000 packages. Then last week it was 80,000 packages. This week's 150,000 packages. Is no one in this industry in Florida paying attention to this and saying, we should, like I said, put this in a brown bag if you have to. So when they come in, does the brown bag, well, I don't know, maybe it looks like a bag that the kid would take his lunch to school in, so can't put it in that. Again, it's so arbitrary and subjective that it's so unfair that I really hope that somehow there's some class action lawsuit filed against the state of Florida for all these people that have had all these products seized because there's no legal justification for it. And once again, who gets to decide? If it's just up to the state to decide, then they're just going to send a bunch of people out and say, oh, well, yeah, that's got a little bright colors. There's a couple bright colors on that packaging. That could be appeal to kids. Again, I don't even know how, as far as consumerism laws, this is even legal. But they've done it, and they're doing it. And no one seems to care. 150,000 hemp products seized by the Florida government for looking like Kids may want to be attracted to the packaging, and no one cares. No one seems to be making a fuss about it. It's just, if the state of Ohio did it, hey, I would. It's just, everything would be in a brown bag. If there was any question, we would go in a brown bag. I mean, our disposable vapes, THC disposable vapes from Industrial Hemp, they're like yellow, bright orange, and purple. And you could easily make the argument that those were attractive for kids. They're also in a case you have to ask for them, and we will ID you. Even though we don't even have to. I don't have to. We do not have to ID anyone for any of our products in the state of Ohio right now. They tried to do a ban. They didn't do an age restriction, and the only way they'll do anything is if they do an age restriction. But either way, but we still do card. I'm not selling these products to kids. I'm not trying to sell these products to kids. I want people to be adults to make this choice. And if parents want their kids to have these products, then they can come in and buy them, because that's the law in Ohio. If your parent buys you something, you have the right to use it. How about some chicken laying mats? Now, the FDA has approved hemp feed for egg laying chickens, and now you can have them lay those hemp fed chicken eggs on hemp matting. And again, it makes sense. This is, it's basically like the hemp fiber insulation, but it should be soft, easy to manage. I think that even if they start to mess it up, as chickens do, by going to the bathroom, you could probably easily just spray it off. And so it's it's a much better way, in my opinion. We just usually use some type of straw or something. But I definitely like it. And again, what you're going to get there, don't forget, is antimicrobial, antibacterial. Hemp fiber is all of these things naturally. So this is just a cleaner environment, period, for your chickens to lay their eggs on. And if you feed them hemp seed, you can still sell those eggs to the public because it's FDA approved. It's another good agricultural use for hemp fiber. Good stuff. Article titled, How a Retired Cardiologist's Morning Shake Ritual Reversed His Biological Age by 15 Years. All right, everybody loves the anti-aging thing. Well, what if we go anti-aging internally with some hemp seed? Well, hemp seed was included. Meowdy. And so this smoothie, pretty easy recipe. I didn't get a chance to actually put it down. It was just kind of in there listed, but it's pretty easy. 1 cup of blueberries, 2 handfuls of fresh spinach, half an avocado, 2 tablespoons of hemp seed, in coconut water with a tablespoon of almond butter. Didn't really say how much coconut water to use, so you can kind of, judge that on your own. But basically, you blend that up for about 60 seconds, make a smoothie out of it. And, I don't know how they track this, but they started tracking all of this in his system, after a month of using this or something. And again, basically, they said he had the blood of a person that was 15 years younger than him or whatever. I don't know how all that works or if it really does. But, there's a lot of different stuff in here that gives you a lot of different nutrients that we all need. And we know how much 2 tablespoons of hemp is a good amount of protein, vitamins, minerals, omega-6 essential fatty essential 6 and 3 essential fatty acids, on top of all the other good stuff in there. So I'll maybe try to get this listed out, and in the picture form we like to do, if you want to. But again, it's pretty easy. Pretty easy. Couple of blueberries, 2 handfuls of fresh spinach, half an avocado, 2 tablespoons hemp seed, coconut water, and a tablespoon of almond butter. Every morning. Every morning. And again, I have talked about athletes that do that 2 tablespoons of hemp in their smoothie in the morning as their regimen, including Tom Brady. Back when he was, and he probably still does that to stay in health shape, or stay healthy. I should say, stay healthy, not to stay in shape, stay healthy. Here's a neat hemp house. It's being built in Manitoba, and this is really neat because we haven't seen a whole lot of the curvature of the hemp like it is here, like in that top left corner where it's kind of going there. It kind of reminds me of more like an Adobe style molding. Now, I can't believe that there aren't more and more and more hemp houses being built in Manitoba, where a lot of, I believe, hemp is being grown for seed, which then makes that stalk byproduct or waste. Technically, it's waste in the seed industry and can be used to build a house with, make your curtains, and all those things. So, and we are definitely seeing more hempcrete projects coming out of Canada, but I really think that this is a whole new outlet for the seed industry, the grain industry, because basically they just come across with a combine and cut that seed off the top of the plants, and then they come down later and they get all that stock and they pile all that stock up. Then they just have to sell that to someone to process it, or to have it processed into fiber and the herd. So it's pretty neat. Again, I can't even imagine the amount of products that you can make just with the waste. And they used to burn it, and I think they're burning it less and less at the end of the year and finding these type of outlets more and more in Canada. But they used to just burn the stalks at the end of the year, 100% waste for them. And so hopefully now they're finding better outlets for those products. Well, if you've ever gotten a botched ass job, yes, that's what I said, a botched ass job, just know that CBD can and will help. All right? I don't know who Katie Price is. And if you Google her, be aware, okay? She's had a lot of plastic surgery. I've seen some pictures of her where I was like, eeks. And I've seen some pictures of her like, okay, all right, well, what. Just recently, though, one of her, again, she really, really likes plastic surgery. But recently, she had a butt job, and something went awry. Something went wrong with it, and she could barely sit down. She was in so much pain. So what did she use? She used CBD for the pain and the inflammation, and it worked for her. All right, because most of the time, it does work for people. Our customers will tell you. Katie Price will tell you that it worked for her, as far as fighting the pain and fighting the inflammation, which is a lot of pain is caused by inflammation. So if your pain is caused by inflammation, then CBD may help, as it has helped our customers. I'm not giving you any medical advice. I'm just telling you that our customers tell us it works for them. This person has said it. I've talked about numerous people on the show that use it for these things. So what we're going to be finding out next is that if she used it as a topical, she's going to find out that her skin was like really nice there. So she's going to be all lathered up hopefully with hemp oil and CBD, making yourself even more attractive to the world,
Yep.
if that is her goal, which obviously it is. If vanity is your main concern, then I can tell you hemp oil, hemp seed oil, and CBD are probably very helpful for you. Well, though, big old PepsiCo has announced that it wants to add more protein and fiber to their snacks. Hey, PepsiCo, how about hemp? Again, it would be the easiest solution. You can add some hemp into those chip ingredients. Add some hemp. You could add hemp into your drinks if you really wanted to, for its nutritional value. Not for any other reason, but for its nutritional value. So, the dry goods, that's kind of a no-brainer. It's just figure out what you can either maybe substitute the hemp for, or can you just add some hemp, basically get the same product. And again, if they're going to change it, it's going to change. They're going to do the best they can not to change the flavor, the consistency of these things. But if their goal is to really make a healthier snack, then it's probably going to change a little bit. You're maybe not going to get the original, and so don't look for that. And again, we have to tolerate some things to get the body in homeostasis. You have to eat some foods that you may not like the taste of to have a healthier diet. And I've always said, don't be on a diet, just have a healthy diet. You can regulate it all. And again, hemp is key to that. In all honesty, hemp is key to having a good diet, a healthy diet. Eating hemp every day is beneficial to the human body in ways that most people don't even know. They really don't. Because there's such a lack of there's such a lack of hemp being used and promoted in food products. And this has been 10 years, 20 years in the making. But we're not even close to the grain industry being what it needs to be to supply all the hemp grain to the people of the world to make the world healthier. We're moving in the right direction, but we're not even close. So hopefully PepsiCo, someone at PepsiCo is watching the show because they love hemp, and they're like, hey, why don't we figure out how to put this unbelievably good food product, sustainable, vegetarian, vegan. So, if you're making vegan products, I don't care what you're making vegan products. If you're not trying to put hemp in those, you are doing your customers a serious disservice. You're doing your food product a serious disservice. The fact that PepsiCo is now starting to realize, and again, how long is this taking? That they could, and they should make their snacks healthier, their foods healthier. I'm not going to say they're a day late and a dollar short. They're a day late. They've never been a dollar short, and they just need to do it. Do it. Figure out how you can start adding hemp into all of your food products to make them a healthier snack for your consumers. Period. Duluth Trading, if you know about them, big Duluth Trading, and they've had hemp products for a while. This is their women's artesian hemp blouse, and I like they're bringing the word blouse back. We haven't heard the word blouse for a while. My mom used to use the word blouse, and I feel like she was like maybe the last generation to call a shirt a blouse. And I don't know if there's a distinctive definition of what makes something a blouse or not. It might be. But and again, their pricing seems to be really good. So this is like I always say: go to DuluthTrading.com and just search for hemp and see how many products come up, and see if they can help you get into some hemp. But there's their Duluth Trading Company Women's Artesian Hemp Blouse. All right, we got one more cool product to show. We get into some events, get everybody on their Hemp Day. So here are some lampshades made by Agricrete, which I like the name. Again, I like these people are using some cool names. Agricrete LLC. And they're made out of hempcrete. So I don't think, now hempcrete is lighter than concrete. That's why, one reason why I believe we can't use it as load bearing in housing project is because it's lighter and possibly not as strong in this form as it's comparable. But these are pretty thin. Can't weigh a whole lot. As they say, no two are ever alike. I don't know if they're making these by hand. That makes sense. So they're not using a mold. Even if they're using a mold, no two may never be alike because of coloration and things like that. And so even if they are using a mold, I can see how you're never going to get everything completely exactly the same, which is pretty neat. So if you need a new lampshade, you want to build a lamp, make your own apparently somehow, then check out Agricrete LLC. Just coming to the market now, so might have to find some more information on those. It's a pretty neat hempcrete idea. Indeed. All right. Well, if you're going to be in Portland this Friday, please, or this weekend or after the 1st, I should say, if you're around Portland, going to visit Portland, go check out the Young Maven shop. Young Maven has been making hemp goods since around the same time that we have been selling hemp goods. About 1995, I think they came into existence. And this is, he called it a pop-up shop, so I don't know how long they're going to be here. But it's at 407 North Mississippi Avenue. I'm sorry, 4007. 4007, as you can see on top there, 4007 North Mississippi Avenue. And Young Maven's been making quality hemp products for a while. So go support them, support hemp. Come on, Portland. We know how much you like cannabis out there, so let's support it in every form. If I had a trip planned to Portland, I would definitely be going and checking out this shop. Opening, the grand opening is Friday, again, if you're in Portland. Next Tuesday, first Tuesday of the month, we got the marijuana meetup. We're headed back to Mad Tree. So we'll see what happens with that. But it's from 8 to 11 at Mad Tree in Oakley. Next Tuesday is the marijuana meetup. Again, I go as the hemp person. Talk about hemp. I educate about hemp. I learn about hemp almost every time. And so it's a great, very well-rounded meetup. I always have just really good, fun conversations and educating conversations. And I always learn something. So August 15th through the 20th and the 23rd through the 28th, you have the Hemp Lime Hands-On Workshop in Parkdale, Oregon. I don't know how far away Parkdale is from Portland, but if you're going to the workshop, maybe you can make a trip over to Young Maven and check out their stuff. Either way. But again, this is going to be a Hemp Lime Hands-On Workshop. What that means is they're gonna use you to build whatever it is they want to build. That's hands-on. And again, it's a great way to learn. Hands-on, especially with things like this, is obviously a great way to learn. September 18th through the 20th, you've got the Rocky Mountain Natural Building Conference in Bozeman, Montana. There's a lot of stuff going on with the I think the building stuff is really the biggest focus on people right now. This is the Rocky Mountain Natural Building Conference, but there's going to be a lot of people I think representing hemp there, and again, learn all things natural building. It should be mandatory for all construction companies to send someone to a natural building conference at some point or another. That's not going to happen anytime soon as far as being forced to, but you would be smart to if you own a construction company in any form. October 3rd through the 5th, this is one of the big ones, the Hemp Building Symposium, the Lower Sioux Indian community. They just keep adding more and more experienced people when they are some of the most experienced out there. The Lower Sioux, once again, growing, processing, building. Seed to wall, I call it. And so there is no better way to understand the whole process and learn it all than to do it that way. And again, they're adding more and more speakers and educators that have been involved in hemp construction for a while here in the United States. And so that is one that if you have any, I don't care where you are in the United States, if you have any interest in getting into hemp construction, this is the event you really want to go to. And they're not paying me to say that. I don't get paid to say anything. And this is just me speaking from my heart, my hemp heart. October 10th through the 12th, you have the Hemp Renaissance, Rebuilding Main Street. This is going to be in Princeton, Illinois, a little bit more closer to the Midwest, to the high state area. If you're interested in, if you're in Illinois or in the Illinois area and you're interested in the hempcrete stuff and the building material, then this is your event to possibly come to. Either way. So, all right. Well, there you have it, folks. Thanks, everybody, for watching the High Noon Hemp Show. Remember, reduce, reuse, recycle. Make everything else out of hemp. Having hemp patience.
See y'all next week.
See you next.